Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about our hits and misses from our recent Norwegian Bliss cruise back in November. If you haven't watched the videos that we put on the channel, please check them out because you'll understand what we're talking about a lot more having referenced those. My name's Matthew. I also am known as Shadowy Boy on Cruise Critic and here on YouTube.
And I'm his wife, Susan. So please like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications on future uploads.
So Susan, what was your favorite thing on the Norwegian Bliss when we sailed her last November?
You know, it'd have to be the racetrack. Absolutely loved it. Well worth the wait that I had to spend in line. Yep. Yours?
I love the Starbucks on board. I'm a big fan. You know, get it pretty much every day, and it was nice being able to go on a cruise ship and getting an actual Starbucks drink made to Starbucks standards. And I love a salted caramel mocha, and I was able to get that aboard the Bliss. I was able to use my Starbucks card and earn stars on board. You can't redeem stars on board for free drinks, but at least you can earn some, which is very beneficial.
What was your least favorite thing?
Okay, so if you've been on a Norwegian Breakaway or Breakaway Plus class ship, you know there are two elevator banks in the state. One, which is pretty much mid-ship, which are the forward elevators, and then one that is aft, which are the aft elevators. When you compare that to a ship such as the Norwegian Jewel or the Norwegian Sun or the Norwegian Star, different classes of Norwegian ships, they all have three elevator banks. They have a forward elevator, a midship elevator, and then an aft elevator, which kind of eases out the traffic pattern in the elevator and makes it so you can get up and down a lot faster. My least favorite thing, I guess, the best way to say it is, the forward elevators on the Bliss. The forward elevators were always busy because you have a lot of your staterooms on the forward part of the ship, and even some of the people from the midship are going to that midship elevator, and to get up and down on the front of the ship where the garden cafe is, the observation lounge is, everybody's going on that same elevator bank. So that was my least favorite because you had to wait quite a while sometimes to get on an elevator to go up or down. What about you, Susan?
Mine would have to be the game shows, only because they happened in the atrium. It was very difficult to see, very difficult to get a seat to hear. It was not at convenient times. We were always either at dinner or had other things going on. And I really love watching those for their comedic effect, really.
And we've participated several times in them as well.
So, yeah, I was a little disappointed about that.
So, if looking at all the restaurants on board the Norwegian Bliss, which one was your favorite?
Being a country girl at heart, I loved the queue. It was awesome atmosphere. The live music was phenomenal. Their specialty drink, top notch. And actually the food I ordered was amazing. So, yeah, that would be my favorite. How about you?
I have to go with Los Lobos, the Mexican style restaurant on their Tex-Mex, however they describe it. I felt this one, start to finish, was the best. The food that I ate was excellent. The spice, the flavor, you know, and their signature cocktail was excellent as well. So I just found Los Lobos to be the best in my opinion. So I'm going to go with that.
So if I may ask, what was your least favorite restaurant?
My least favorite has to be Q. I know that was her favorite, but when we sat down at Q, the atmosphere was great, the service was great, the appetizers were great. But after the appetizers, it took almost 15 minutes for us to get our entrees, and another 10 minutes to get the sides to go with that entree there as well. And we were starting to get full. The food didn't come out hot, and it lacked some spice or flavoring to what I would think barbecue should taste like. And so it was just a little bit of a disappointment. I got the Smokemaster platter, which, you know, is a sampling of all of what they offer on board, and I just was kind of like, yeah, I should have chose something different. And what about you?
For me, it was the Manhattan Room. Only because it didn't have the same vibe as when we sailed the Escape a couple of years back. The Manhattan Room on the Escape has live music, has the dance floor, where the Manhattan Room on the Bliss didn't have that same vibe or same feel. So, yeah.
So, if you could choose one place to hang out on the Norwegian Bliss, where would you hang out?
I would have to go with the waterfront on deck 8. It's very calm, very relaxing. Can hang out with friends, have a drink, have a snack, watch the waves go by, smell the fresh salty air. Yeah, I loved it. So, you?
I have to choose deck 8, but more specifically Sugarcane Mojito Bar. Whether it's inside or outside on the waterfront, Sugarcane's just a great place to hang out. In the evenings, they had live music inside. You know, you could enjoy a mojito and watch the waves. So Sugarcane was top-notch. Bartenders are excellent. So definitely check them out if you're on the Bliss.
So let's talk ports of call. Matthew, what was your favorite?
Mine had to be St. Thomas, and the reason why I chose St. Thomas was for Paradise Point most specifically. I love the gondola ride up to the top of Paradise Point. I love the views from Paradise Point. I love the photography I was able to get from Paradise Point. And the Norwegian Bliss sitting there in port was just fabulous, and Charlotte Amalie and the rest of St. Thomas just made for a beautiful picture on the day that we were there. It was not a cloud in the sky until the rains came later, but that was at lunch and we were eating at the time. So, Susan?
Yeah, same. I would have to go with St. Thomas. The port was very easy to walk around in. Lots of things to do outside the port area. Shopping, local restaurants that were really good. Yeah.
So, what was your least favorite restaurant, or sorry, not restaurant, port? We already did restaurants.
We already did restaurants. I'd have to say Tortola in British Virgin Islands. Not much to do in the port area except for some of your basic shopping, the jewelry stores and whatnot. It wasn't very easy to walk around. Lots of construction, some rundown areas just outside the port area. So yeah, not my favorite port. No.
I have to go with Nassau. I felt it was like herding cats through the entrance to get into the port area from the ship. When you and then you had to work your way through the port, and you were just trying to get out of that area. And then when we came back into the port area after our excursion, we got in the line to go through security to go back to the ship, and you know, we saw tons of people creating new lines and cutting, and you know, it was just not a controlled environment that I appreciated. You know, other ports, even in Mexico, like Cozumel or Costa Maya, were not to the craziness of Nassau there. Could have been the number of ships, but it wasn't a situation that I really want to go back and do again, unfortunately.
So, what was your favorite excursion?
My favorite excursion was in Tortola when we went on the shared charter with Aristocat Tours. I felt they did an excellent job. Lunch was included, drinks were included. We got to go to 3 different snorkel spots around Norman Island and the Indians. And the fish were amazing. We got to see a lot of coral and other underwater features. And it was just a very nice day. And it was a lot of fun. It wasn't as crowded as like a ship excursion would be, because they limit it to like 30 people max on board. Whereas on a cruise ship excursion, similar to that, you're going to get like 40 or 50 on a boat.
Yeah. I would have to go with the True Bahamian food tour. There in Nassau is a walking food tour. The stops that we made and the food and drinks we had were amazing. I got to learn a lot about the history and the culture of the Bahamas that I would never be able to get just laying on the beach or going to one of the resorts there in the area.
Very true, very true. So let's talk about entrees. What was your number one, nothing can beat it, entree on the Bliss?
Too many to choose from, but I would definitely have to go with the udon noodles and the shrimp and scallops at teppanyaki. It was cooked to perfection. I love noodles, so anything noodles is awesome, especially if you put an Asian spin on it, though. Yeah. Yours?
I have to go with the prime rib at the Haven restaurant. Our friends Trace and Maria, who we sailed with, invited us one night to have dinner with them up there. Partially as a thank you and all that, so we appreciate it. And up there, I had the prime rib at the Haven restaurant, and it was better than Cagney's. If you've been to Cagney's, you know their steaks are very well done, and this was much better than even the Cagney's prime rib, and yeah, I'm still talking about it to this day.
So what was your least favorite entree?
So as I touched on before, my least favorite restaurant was Q, and as a result, my least favorite entree was the smoked pasta platter because it came out cold. It didn't taste as well as I thought it should be. It looked really good, but just disappointed when it came to actual flavor and temperature. So, you know, that would have to be my least favorite entree. What about you, Susan?
Mine would have to be the sea scallops and gnocchi at the Haven restaurant, actually. Not because it wasn't cooked well. It had lots of flavor. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting in a dish. As far as the gnocchi went, it was just different. So, good, but not my favorite. Yep.
So, if you had to choose just 2 appetizers.
Just 2?
Just 2. What were your favorites and where were they located?
Well, one of them would have to be the beet and arugula salad at the Haven restaurant. Was simple, elegant, yet flavorful. Had a little crostini with goat cheese on the side. Just done to perfection. And my second one, believe it or not, would have to be the deviled eggs at the Q. So I make them myself, so I know what they're supposed to taste like, and these were just a notch above what I would even fix for myself. So they were very good.
Very nice. I would have to go with my number 1 being the slow roasted pork belly in the Haven restaurant. It was just a delightful experience. I took that bite and went, ooh, that's delightful. And Susan, Trace, and Maria all go, delightful, huh? Yeah, it was excellent. It was not something that I would expect to be that good, but I was very surprised when it was. My second one would have to be the Texas crab cake at Q. like I said, appetizers were great, and that one really stood out with its flavor, and it was just that great starter to the meal that I had hoped was going to turn out really well.
So, least favorite appetizer? Got one?
So, I'm not a huge fan of Asian cuisine.
That's true.
And I agreed to take her to teppanyaki, unbeknownst to her.
It was
And
surprised,
so, when we got into teppanyaki and started with edamame, and then had miso soup, and then had seaweed salad, I'm going, this does not look appetizing. I surely hope it gets better from here. And I started looking at it, I'm like, are we going to have to go to the buffet? And luckily the entree, blew me away. It was very good, the fried rice and all that. But I was not a big fan of the edamame, the miso soup, or the seaweed salad.
Yeah.
I tried them, but I still wasn't a fan.
Mine would have to be the chopped salad at the Q, only because it was super overdressed, and the way they fixed it all chopped up and mixed in, there was no way to get the dressing on the side to avoid that. So, yeah, for that reason only.
Okay, Susan, let's talk dessert. What are your top 2 favorite desserts? Because I know you're a dessert fiend on board.
I love them all. My number 1 go-to favorite dessert on board any NCL ship has got to be the tiramisu at La Cucina. The espresso soaked lady fingers with the cream, the cocoa, to die for. Love it every time. And my second one would have to be the sweet potato pie at the Q. It was really scrumptious, and the flavors were just right, and reminded me almost of pumpkin pie, which is my favorite. So if you're a pumpkin pie fan, you would love the sweet potato pie as well. So, yours?
My number 1 was the Snickers milkshake at Coco's. But I do caution you, bring a friend or 2 or maybe even 3, because it is like this large.
Huge.
It is amazing though, and we were blown away by how good it was, and we even took a picture with it because we wanted people to know that we had tried it.
Commemorate the moment.
Also, the Buñuelos de Abuela in Los Lobos was probably my second favorite one, because it just had that richness. It's like this little pan dough that you put this maple syrupy sauce over the top, and it just reminded me of that Grandma's Kitchen type of dessert that I really love.
Dare I say, do you have a least favorite dessert?
Unfortunately, I do. The pot de creme on the final night in the main dining room just wasn't living up to my expectations. Let me phrase it by saying this. I'm a big fan of the warm chocolate lava cake on all NCL ships. And I go into that night going, okay, if dessert's not good, I will at least have that to fall back on it. Well, they didn't even have that on the menu. And so I was like severely disappointed when there wasn't a good choice. I tried the cafe pot de creme, and I just was not feeling it that night. What about you, Susan?
None. Crazy to think, but no. I love them all. I have no least favorites.
So, if we went on the Bliss again, which we definitely hope to.
Me too, yes.
What location would you want to spend more time in?
Have to be the observation lounge. It's beautiful up there. There's plenty of places to lounge around, have a drink, even have lunch, because it's kind of connected to Garden Cafe there, and it even has snacks down below. We just didn't spend enough time there, and I would love to spend some more time there. Yeah.
That's a fair assessment.
Yep.
I would have to go with the mini golf up on the by the racetrack, up on the back decks. And yes, it's only 5 holes, but it was, from what I heard, a great experience. I saw some pictures of it, and I would love it just to putt a few holes and take some pictures, you know, watch the cars go around the racetrack because you can see it from there. Additionally, I would want to spend some time in the grotto in Spice H2O. That was one of the places that I was trying to get to, but just kind of ran out of time. And unless I'm on an Alaska sailing of the Bliss and it's 46 degrees out and rainy and windy, I'd probably go spend some time out there, even if it's mildly warm or whatever.
So our final question has to do with more of Norwegian in general. So after we've sailed 6 different ships with Norwegian, both the small ones like the Sun and the Star, and the larger ones like the Escape and Bliss, do you prefer the larger ships or the smaller mid-size ships? And what is your favorite?
Okay, so let me start out by saying that I like the large ships for what they offer. I like that they offer more features, more activities, more restaurants, more bars than a smaller ship. But I like the smaller ships as well for their quaintness. Your interaction with the crew, them remembering your name a little bit more because there aren't as many people on board. It not being so crowded, so you're not just one of the masses, you're an individual person. Some of our best experiences related to, you know, specific people came from sailings on smaller ships. You know, I remember Ali in up in Maderno on the Sun, and you know, I still have that lasting memory from that experience talking with him on the 2 nights that we had gone to Maderno on that sailing. Speaking of the Sun, my favorite ship, yes, is the Norwegian Sun. It was our first ship that we sailed on. We've sailed her again to Alaska. She's just a little perfect ship in my opinion, and I love her to death. I even have it in my own personal stateroom that I like to sail in.
Yeah, I kind of agree on all parts. I do like the activities of the larger ships, the water slides, racetrack, the laser tag, ropes course on the Escape. But I also like the kind of cozy, get to know you feeling that the smaller ships offer and have with the staff and the crew and the passengers. But yeah, the larger ships take just a slight edge, only because of the activities. But as always, the Sun, near and dear to our hearts. So, yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us on this Norwegian Bliss recap. If you haven't seen the Bliss videos that we posted on the channel, please take a look at them. We will also be putting together a pre-cruise video for our upcoming Canada-New England trip on the Norwegian Dawn. And that should be being done in the next few weeks. Until then, please check out the other videos on the channel. And as always, please like this video. Also subscribe and click the bell icon so that way you can see when future videos are uploaded.
Until next time.
Have a good one.